In today's video, we're going to be going over even more knives that I purchased from Temu and figuring out if they were worth the money or if they should just be tossed. Plus, we're going to be doing another knife giveaway in this video, so stick around and find out. Thanks for joining me. We're going to be focusing on fixed blade knives, which some are great and some I just really don't like. Also, if you weren't aware, our last video was on folding knives that we found on Temu, which you can find the link below to give that one a watch, as we held a giveaway in that video too. Anyways, I selected 5 fixed blade designs for you that had some sort of cool factor or looked to be practical, and I wanted to try them out for you and give you my personal opinion. I'm going to open these boxes up so we can check them out right now and see what we have. All right, so let's take a look at some of these fixed blades. Now, a couple of these actually have a brand name. This one is Hongfu or Hangfu. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but they actually are proud enough of their knives to have a brand. So let's open this up and take a look. And we just have a simple box, no paperwork. The knife is inside. We've got what looks to be a fairly well-made injection molded polymer sheath. Some nice hardware on the handle. It sticks in there pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. So we have the sheath, and then this one is claiming to have a CPM 154 blade. Now that's actually pretty impressive. Let's take a good look at this guy. So these handles appear to be injection molded. The fit isn't perfect. You can see there's some areas where it's not quite flush with the tang, going all the way around on both sides. In fact, where they aren't flush is the same from side to side, so there's actually some consistency here, just not necessarily in the way that you would want. The blade finish looks like a dark stone wash. It feels like it's got an edge. We've got some nice texturing to the spine. You've got this ripple here along the back that gives you a little bit of extra traction, but a lot of it's in places where it doesn't do anything. We've got some jimping up here for your index finger to give you some control over your cut. Generous lanyard loop. Overall, I think it's an attractive knife in a handy size. Obviously, it's a neck knife. But I'm sure you could put a inside the waistband loop on it, or, you know, you could molly strap it to a backpack. A lot of different ways you could carry it, but I'm actually kind of impressed. Now, let's see how it cuts. And it actually cuts pretty good. It's got a little spot in there that it wants to start to tear, but not the greatest cutting ability. It cuts, and it cuts nicer than most of the folders did. So overall, I think this one might be a bargain. Let's try it on some wood and see what it does there. So now we've got our piece of wood, and yeah, it does it. It might be a little small for that. You could do it, but it's not pleasant. Overall, I actually kind of like this one. And if this is CPM 154, that's pretty impressive for the price. Now, chances are it's not heat treated well. Looking at the edge here, I don't see any rolling of the edge. It's not crazy sharp, but if the heat treat's decent and you put a good edge on it, it would probably hold up to be a really good knife for the price. So now we'll move on to the next one. Now, this next one here I saw on Temu, and I really liked the looks of it. So this one's claiming to be high hardness stainless steel. It looked nice, and I thought, hey, I want to try that one out. So again, we have no branding on the box. And inside we have a knife in a sheath. So, looks to be real leather. Texture on it is wet molded into it. It's not the natural texture of the leather. And right off the bat, I can see some things that I don't like. First thing is, we have a large gap between the bolster and the wooden handle scale, and they filled it in with epoxy. Secondly, we've got gaps between the handles and the tang, and you can actually feel the lip here. Can even hear my nail catch on it. The pin is proud right here with a sharp edge that would actually probably rub on your hand and give you a blister. The mosaic pin of a star right here isn't even round on one side, and you've lost some of the epoxy filling. Up here in the bolster area, they actually got a smooth transition. Could have been finished better, but we look at our plunge grinds here, and they're actually pretty symmetrical. But the grind on this side is nice and flowing. You can see where they polished down by the edge. On this side, you get up to the top of the grind here, and you've actually got a wobble in the grind, and we've got a scratch that doesn't, a blemish here, looks like it's some sort of scratch where maybe some grit from finishing went the wrong direction that won't rub away, so that's probably in there deep. The grinds on the spine are not truly flat. The blade seems to be pretty symmetrical side to side. When you look at it from the tip, one side is slightly higher than the other, and it actually feels sharp. But we're going to see. Let's see how it'll do with paper. It actually slices really surprisingly well. I'm actually kind of surprised at that. It's a hollow grind. It's an aggressive hollow grind, so it gets nice and thin down at the edge. This one here, it might be that aesthetically it's not quite what you hope it to be, but it might actually be an okay cutter for the price. The paper cut was nice. Let's see what it does with wood, because that's a thin edge. So it's actually doing better on wood than any other knife so far. So let's see what it did to the edge here. I see one tiny spot right here where there might be a hint of rolling of the edge. Otherwise, the edge seems to be in good shape. I'm actually kind of shocked. I liked this design. I thought, that looks nice. It looks comfortable. The handle's a little bit small for my hand. I thought the knife was going to be a bit larger. But this is one that I think it would actually be a really killer deal if the fit and finish was better on it. But with all these pins protruding and the glue fill there and things not lining up and warbles in the grind, cosmetically it's not right. Fit and finish wise it's not right. But this one's actually cutting smoother than anything else. Now, resharpening any of the other knives, that could change that. You know, that could change this dramatically. And how long this knife would hold a good edge, it would take deeper testing to decide. So we're going to call this one a decent knife for the deal. I think they can definitely improve the craftsmanship on it, but otherwise, not bad. I mean, not great, but not bad. This next one makes me laugh. As we can see here, M-Tech USA Extreme, USA Premium Design. Here we have Tactical Military Rescue, all your typical M-Tech markings designed in the US, your typical M-Tech box. So let's open this up and see what we got inside. We got a bubble wrap knife, no paperwork. And this was the combat fixed blade. And looking at it, the handle is a nice clamshell handle. It's a rubberized material. The sheath is an injection molded sheath that actually seems fairly cleanly done. I mean, it's not a high-end sheath, but it looks nice. We got Torx fasteners. They look to probably be T10. We've got a nicely ground blade. Not a perfect grind, but nicely ground. The handle all fits together nicely, so the injection molding was clean and it looks like there was some finish work done to it. We have a glass breaking or skull crusher pommel on here with a lanyard loop. Grip pattern that is very much like topo lines on a map. The handle is reasonably comfortable. It's a little bit small for my hand, but do you see what's not here? Many of us are going to know what M-Tech knives are, and they're very proud of their knives. They're put their logo on them very large, and if they have a designer behind them, they typically do what the other companies do and put their designer's name somewhere on the knife. But this knife is completely sterile, no markings whatsoever. Is this one they actually intended to go into a combat theater? Does M-Tech get cloned? I mean, M-Tech's a pretty inexpensive knife. I can't imagine why they would be cloned. And this was in the price of many M-Tech knives. So it's not like you're saving money buying a fake M-Tech. Or maybe this is a factory second, so they didn't mark it. I don't know. Maybe someone can comment down below in the comments and let me know, does M-Tech offer seconds without a maker's mark? I just don't know. The sheath is pretty nice. You've got a nice injection molded belt loop. You got the topo lines that carry over onto the sheath. All the grommets are nicely pressed. None of them are split. You've got spacers for the belt loop. The knife clicks into the sheath well, but overall it seems pretty nice. Now, let's see how it cuts. A little bit of catch out towards the tonneau point. Tears right at the tip. Yeah, there's some places where right out of the box the edge is damaged and it doesn't want to cut. And sometimes it skips over, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if I can see where it's catching here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's just a little deformation in the edge. Running it on a strop would probably clean that up right away. How does the tip cut? So probably not very good geometry on the Tonto point grind. And you can see some little warbly lines here from sharpening it. But overall, I mean, this was, I believe, I would have to look, but I believe this one was right around $16, $17. It was towards the upper end of the budget. Now, let's see what it does on the wood. Definitely requires a little more pressure than the others to cut into the wood, but this one had the most comfortable handle pushing into that wood.
So I got to give it that. This handle is actually pretty nice. I think the handle and the sheath are nice. The two nicest parts of this knife. Your grinds are kind of clean and the aesthetics are good. I actually really like the looks of this knife. If this design had just a little more handle length for me and was in something like 3B or ADCR, it might be a really, really nice knife. But as it stands, we don't know if this is a clone of an M-Tech or a factory second, or if it's a genuine M-Tech and they just happen to think that this would go into combat theater where it would need to be sterile. I just don't know. I can't tell you. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Next, we have another Hong Fu. This is one of the knives that I thought looked really nice, and I was actually curious about because the grinds looked exceptional on it in the pictures on Temu. So we've got a sheath here. Now this looks to be a vinyl sheath, not a leather sheath. So it's made to look like leather, but it isn't. Knife comes in plastic, and we've got a tip guard. So maybe this one's actually pretty sharp. So this one has a name on it, probably a designer, but I can't make it out. It might be Hank Paler, I don't know. We've got fake hammer marks of to simulate forging. They blackwashed the body, sat into the bevel. The grinds look really clean on this, surprisingly clean. They didn't quite get a point. The point's ever so slightly ground away. The bolsters are fitted nice. Can barely make out the difference between the bolsters and the tang. This one was high hardness stainless steel. So again, we don't know what the alloy is. This looks like a black dyed Paca wood. Your fit up to the bolsters is pretty decent. No notable gaps. There is some weird, what I would call transition issues, where you go from the bolster to the scale material. The pins are all nice and flush. It's actually comfortable in the hand. It could use some jimping up here, but that's a matter of design, and obviously this looks like it was somebody's design, but it's comfortable in the hand. It's a nice hollow grind. You can see there, that's a big hollow grind. It doesn't get super thin at the edge, so it looks like it's intended to be for a little harder use. The grinds out at the tip are pretty symmetrical, not perfect. And the plunges are not lined up. So you can see here, this side doesn't come back quite as far. So they didn't get the grinds quite even. This is also an under $20 fixed blade. So keep that in mind. No lanyard hole. A lanyard hole might have been nice on this one. Now, let's see how it cuts. Actually slices pretty well. That was me, not the knife. Not bad. Didn't really want to catch anywhere. The sharpening edge isn't perfect. There's some little spots here where the secondary bevel grind line isn't perfect. It's better on the mark side of the knife. But overall, if this holds an edge for a while, this is not a bad knife for under 20 bucks. I'm not saying they're going to be a great knife, and I'm not saying you should use them in a situation where your life might depend on it. But if you're wanting a knife as a tool that's going to hold up for regular everyday use and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, something like this might be an option for you. So let's see what it does to the wood. Okay, so it's thicker at the edge. It's not wanting to take the wood off as clean, but Again, the handle was comfortable. You don't have to press super hard. You know, it is taking a little bit of force, more than I'm used to with a knife. No real rolling of the edge. I don't see any noteworthy edge damage. So the heat treat on this one actually seems to be pretty nice. Without knowing what steel it is, you can't really say a whole lot without knowing, but I can tell you it's not horrible. I've used knives that were more expensive than this and not quite at this level and didn't cut wood like that. That's where we are on this one. And we've got one more for you. And we have one more Hong Fu. Now, this one I'm really actually excited about now. I loved the look of it on the website. It was probably my favorite one, at least aesthetically. And after going over the other two Hong Fus, I'm really excited for this one because this one's a beast. So again, no paperwork, but they did put their brand on the box. This one is a big one. Leather sheath. And just look at that blade. I am not one for inexpensive knives. I am not one for stolen designs, violated intellectual properties. I'm not one for any of the negative connotations that come out of Chinese-made knives. So it's really hard for me to come out and say, I like this. It's got some little issues with the grind right here that you can see right off the bat. But they put their logo on that was on the box on the blade, so they're obviously proud of it. We've got a model number here. This is another high hardness stainless blade. We got some dried oil on the blade here. A nice recurve design with some good belly. We've got a swedge that appears to be pretty symmetrical. We've got some jimping up here. Not sure how much I would like that jimping with it being beveled and narrowing. It doesn't feel horrible, but with some use, this might wear on your thumb a little bit. We've got Allen screws to hold everything together. This is a glass reinforced nylon handle. You can hear it's got almost a metallic sound, but a plastic feel. And a nice big sharpening choil. Not quite a finger choil. Don't know what it was intended to be. With a lanyard loop here at the end. Everything fits up nicely back here. Now over here we've got a big old lip. You can hear my thumbnail catching. Where the handles are proud of the tang. And then up here in the handle choil, again and again right here at the guard. So not perfect. The handle could definitely fit better. But that blade, I just really like that blade design. Now, let's see how this one cuts. Nice and slicey. That's just effortlessly going through the paper. Let's see if we can get a curved cut. Little bit of curve going on. You start trying to curve it hard and it wants to tear. So the edge obviously isn't a perfect edge, but I mean, I'm surprised. I like this one. I think this one was right at the $20 limit because it's a large knife. It's thick. I want to say we're at a full 3/16 of an inch thick on the blade here. The plunges are pretty symmetrical. The secondary bevel for the edge isn't quite symmetrical. The grinds out at the tip are pretty symmetrical. The hollow grinds look to be done pretty well. The finish isn't bad. Like I said, back here in your plunge area, there's a little bit of missed grinds on the mark side of the knife. But for a knife that you can really like the design of and use and really not care how you treat it, probably not a bad option. Now, let's see about what it does with the wood. Oh yeah, that just digs right in there and nice and aggressive. Let's see about out here at the belly. Yep, it just wants to eat this wood. Wow, let's see what it does here with near the knot. Oh yeah, it just stops. But it'll chip through. This obviously wants to be a worker, and I got nothing wrong with that. You know, a knife should be a good tool. Overall, this one isn't bad. I think this area where the handles don't match up, that could wear and abrade on your grip some. So there's some nice aspects to this. There's some drawbacks. It's really up to each individual what makes it worth it or not worth it for them. I would, if I was going to go out and use this as a tool in the field, I would probably use it while wearing gloves. But beyond that, not bad. Not bad at all. Here we have the 5 knives we reviewed, and you all know my opinions on them now. So now we're going to get to the part that I know some of you have been looking forward to. Just like the last video, the 5 folders from Temu, this is the 5 fixed blades from Temu, we're going to be doing a giveaway. After this video airs, we will be doing a separate video with a random drawing to announce the winners of the knives from this giveaway and from the folder giveaway. You're gonna wanna be subscribed to us, and then you need to comment on this video for the fixed blade giveaway the phrase "slice and dice," just as you see it on screen. And that will enter you to win this big boy right here. This is the most expensive knife from this batch. I'm actually pretty happy with it, but this is the one we'll be giving away this video. Enter if you want to win it. For now, let's go back out to normal view and we'll wrap this video up.
Now that we've given you an idea of what you can find knife-wise on Temu, we hope you have fun exploring the rabbit hole. Well, sadly, it's that time to say our farewells for now. And if you liked the video, you know what to do with that like button. Stab it hard. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. We don't want you to miss anything, you know, amazing. So until we see you again, take care and stay sharp. We hope you have I don't even know what word I was trying to say there. What is that? Shananabata Presha? Oh my God, I'm becoming Joe Biden. We hope you have it. But I caught it. Yeah, it went through my head that moment. It's like, I'm going to say designs back to back. And she's going to be like, nope, wait, stop. You're doing it wrong. You an idea of, oh, my mouth was open.